I'm not sure. Are we live yet?
It looks to be so.
All right then. Let me see. Yep, we are live. Hello everyone. We are a little bit late this morning, this afternoon. So first of all, let me apologize. Did you think I wasn't coming on? Did you think I wasn't doing this? Well, here I am. Yes, we have my spirit guide Gregel, who is by my right side. We have Cachorro, who is on the sofa right now, needing a little healing, I think. We've also got Michelle, once again, I have to say, sitting on the floor. Say hello, Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so let's get started. Then we're a little bit late because I dawdled over my lunch. I thought we were supposed to start at 2 o'clock, and at some point I said to Michelle, what time is it? And she looked, she said, oh gosh, it's 1:30. I'm thinking, that's all right, we've got a half an hour. But we didn't. Anyway, so this is our time once again to talk about healing, to talk about the process of healing, for me to show you a little bit about the process of healing, to send healing to you, to give healing to you. But it's also that time when we think about which stories I'm going to tell you. I thought about telling you this story last week, and one of the reasons that I didn't tell it last week is because it's a really long story. So I thought I'll tell you a part of the story. I'll cut through a lot of it, and if you want to learn more about this story in its entirety, I think you'll find the story in The Eagle and the Rose. I think that's where it is. And if you want to get that book, we have it on audio, and we also have it in soft copy. I think we don't have any hard copies left. But if you want to know more about that, and if you'd like to know more about the books that I've written, please email me, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. So my story is about Wendy, and Wendy gave me permission to tell this story a long time ago. Wendy is the inspiration for my healing tapes, not tapes anymore, are they? My healing CDs, my healing meditations, should I say. Wendy is the inspiration, and she is, in fact, the first person that I made healing meditation for. Wendy was my patient for a long time. She came regularly to my healing centre in England, in one of my healing centres in England. And then as she became more sick and was not able to travel so much, then myself and my team would go to give Wendy healing at home. Now, this is the part that I'm brushing through because there's so much more to Wendy's story that I'm telling you right now. But I want to get to the part that I'd really like to tell you about. Now, throughout her time with us, which was at least, I think she was my patient for at least 2 or 3 years, she had talked to the minister at her church, she talked to her friends, she talked to her family. Everyone knew that she was having regular healing from myself and my team. Everyone knew that she visited the healing centre on a regular basis. It was no shock, it was no surprise. It certainly should not have been a surprise to anyone who knew her well, because Wendy felt very strongly that our healing and her visits to the healing centre were tremendously helpful to her. She was diagnosed with cancer. She was in remission for a little while, and eventually, as I've said, she got to the point where she would have home visits. When a healer goes to people with home visits, there is a tendency, of course, for you to get to know not only the patient, but you get to know the family. Wendy and her husband and her 2 sons became interested. They were very supportive of Wendy in her quest for healing. They were very supportive of us and always welcomed us into their home, and we would always have a cup of tea and a chat and talking about all sorts of things, not just pertaining to healing, but we became, over the several months that she was not able to go to the centre, we became closer, we became better friends. She was beautiful. She had huge brown eyes. She was a very pretty girl, and her boys were teenagers. Her husband, they had a fantastic relationship, and whenever I went into their house, I was always welcomed warmly by all of them. Her sons as teenagers were curious. They'd ask lots of questions from time to time. So you can imagine that we all knew each other pretty well by this time. Sometimes when I went, Wendy would be in bed. Sometimes, especially in the early months, she would be up, she would be dressed. She would not always be having a great day, because she did struggle with her cancer, obviously. But always I don't think I ever went there when she didn't at some point smile for me. That's who she was. As the time drew closer for Wendy, and we all knew it, she got sort of worse and worse, obviously. We had longer talks about my beliefs in healing, my beliefs in the spirit world, my beliefs in life after death, all of those things. She had an insatiable curiosity. One day, Wendy was having a particularly bad day, apparently, and I had told the family that I was going to do a radio show. So they tuned in, they listened to me on the radio, and as soon as Wendy heard my voice, she began to feel better. And when I got to the house, her husband was thrilled. He said, she heard your voice on the radio, and the next thing she was up, she was dressed, and she was feeling so much better than she had that morning, just from hearing your voice. When I went in to see Wendy, yes, there she was, sitting up, dressed, in the living room with her sons, and she just was smiling at me, and she said, oh gosh, I heard your voice and I felt so much better and so much stronger. That was the inspiration for me to make the healing meditations, because so many people since that time have listened to those meditations and have actually just been so inspired by them and just been, thrilled. Inspiration comes in whatever way it comes in, and lots of people have had my healing tapes and been inspired by them. Another week I'm going to tell you a story about a lady who was inspired to so much by the first meditation, Wendy's healing meditation, that she actually, when she could not have anesthetic through a terrible surgery, she played my CD over and over again. They put headphones on it. Anyway, I'm digressing, because let's go back to Wendy, shall we? And so I actually, after Wendy had said to me how much better she felt hearing my voice, I thought, well, right, let me think about this. So I went home and I got an old tape player, and I had another player which I put some music on. I chose some music carefully, and then I sat with Grey Eagle. We didn't write anything down. I tried to write something down, but as always, when I try to write things down, it's so much better to be inspired by a Grey Eagle and to sort of just repeat and to be inspired by what the things that he is suggesting that we say in our meditations. And so the music playing in the background on one of these old tape recorders, and then my recording into the other one, I finally managed to come together with this CD for Wendy, and I took it to her the next day, and she played it every day, several times a day, from that moment on until the day she passed. Again, claiming that every time she heard my voice, she felt it was soothing, she felt it was healing, and it just made her feel good. So that was the inspiration. That CD is called A Journey Towards Healing, and that CD is pretty much as I did it for Wendy, although we did it in a better recording studio. I'll tell you that story at another time. When Wendy actually came through from the spirit world to help me and actually did a little conducting of her own so that I would get it exactly right. Again, I digress. See, all these stories come about when we start thinking of them. All right, so let's now come back to Wendy. And I took it upon myself to be Wendy's, let's say, personal healer. I had lots and lots of offers of help from my team, but towards the end it was just Wendy and I. And so I'm going to say 2 or 3 days prior to her passing, we all knew that it was close. Wendy knew that it was close. I went to visit her in the afternoon. I'd had a phone call that morning from her husband. Wendy needs to see you. She's extremely agitated. She's really upset. She will not tell me what's going on. She will not talk to me about anything, but please, Rosemary, can you come? I had not intended to go and see Wendy that day. It was a good 45 minute or almost an hour sometimes drive for me to go to see her. Anyway, I went. I went in the afternoon. Her husband, when I walked through the door, he was so agitated and so upset, and he kept saying to me, "Wait, I don't know what's going on. She has refused to talk to me all day, but she desperately needs to see you." So I went in there and sat next to the bed. Now, you have to I'm going to sort of paint the picture here a little bit. Wendy by this time was extremely weak. She'd had cancer for many years. She had fought this battle to the point where she simply couldn't fight it anymore. Physically, emotionally, in every way, she was sort of getting to that point where she was going to pass. Again, as I've said, we all knew that. So I sat down. She's laid on the bed. At this point, try and remember, she could barely lift her head off the pillow. But she had a tremendous inner strength. So I sat down by the bed and I held her hands and I said, you know, your husband tells me that you're upset about something. Why don't you tell me what's going on? Well, the day before, she'd had a visit from the minister of her church. Now remember, I started this story at the beginning deliberately by saying all of her friends knew about her healing. Her church knew about her healing. She talked to her minister on many, many occasions over the years about her coming to us for healing. So it was no surprise to anyone, and it certainly should not have been a surprise to the minister. But apparently he'd come to visit her the day before, and he'd talked to her about the healing that she'd been having for years, remember? And he said that she needed to denounce this, that it was not of God, that it came from an evil place, that she needed to denounce healing, otherwise she would not be allowed into the kingdom of heaven. Please bear in mind when I'm telling you this story, everyone knew that Wendy only had days, if not hours, to live. What kind of a man, whoever he is, waits until the last moment to denounce something that he's known she's been doing for years? What kind of man looks a woman in the eye, a dying woman, and says, "You will not enter the kingdom of heaven unless you do as I say and you believe as I believe"? So they were my thoughts as Wendy was telling me this story. So she held my hands and she said, "You know, Rosemary, I want you to tell me the truth. You can tell me anything. You know I love you. And I promise you, I won't tell anyone. If you're lying, if you're a fake, I promise you I will not tell anyone. But please tell me the truth of what you believe. I was so upset by the whole thing, but at the time, in that moment, my concern was more for Wendy than for myself and my emotional state and my feelings. So I taught her about my beliefs, and I said to her, look, you don't have to believe me, but everything that I've ever told you is what I believe. Everything that I've ever told you about healing is about my belief system. Everything that I've ever told you about Christ and how he helps me, all of those things, everything that I've ever said, I believe. I could be wrong. God will know when I get to the other side. I'm sure he'll tell me if I'm wrong. But I've never tried to fool you. I've never tried to tell you that something is different than what I believe. But, and I held her hands tight, if you want me to leave, if you are afraid that you will not enter the kingdom of heaven unless you denounce me, I want you to do that. I want you to denounce me. I want you to do what you feel is right in your heart to do. And if you feel that the minister is right, that I am wrong, then I love you anyway. And I'll still be sending my prayers your way, but it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. We had a few tears together. I held her. I did not know if I would ever see her again, because if she was going to denounce me, that meant that I couldn't come and visit, and that meant that this was, for the two of us, it was the end, except that I would have still continued to send her my healing prayers. So I left her, went out into the living room. Her husband was so still agitated. Is she all right? Is she all right? And I said, you need to go in and talk to her. I'm not sure if I'll be back again, but if you do need me, please let me know. But it's not my story to tell, it's her story to tell. I drove home. As I've said, it took me almost an hour to get home, and I was livid. I was so angry. How dare someone put doubt into a person's mind about whether they're going to be embraced by God or that they're going to go to hell? How dare he have said such a thing to her? So I'm driving along and really, really angry, and then I get home, and then I'm really angry, and then I'm really upset, and I spent more than half the night and way into the early morning hours pacing up and down, up and down, up and down. I have to be honest, I had a drink. I think I must have had a brandy or something, pacing up, down. And I was railing at God. I was railing at this minister. I was railing at everyone. How dare they allow this beautiful woman to be so tormented at this close to death? And I railed at God and fought and argued and I was so angry. But over and over again, I kept saying to Grey Eagle, I kept saying to whoever was listening up there, please, 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 whatever the sign is, it's not for me. Just give her something that brings her comfort. Please give her something that brings her comfort. If she doesn't want to see me anymore, this is not the issue here. Please, I wanted to find peace and harmony within herself prior to her passing. So if anyone up there, God, if you're listening, please give her something. Somebody give her something. Anyway, finally I went to bed, only had a couple of hours sleep, and the next morning, I'm going to say it was 7 o'clock in the morning, the phone was ringing somewhere, and I finally managed to get out of my fog and picked up the phone, and it was Wendy's husband. You have to come, I'll pay you anything. Now, we don't charge for healing. He never paid me a penny so far. I'll pay you anything, Rosemary, I'll pay you anything, just get here. Whatever it's, you know, he was thinking if I had a consultation and somebody had paid for that consultation, just cancel it. I'll give you whatever you're charging. I'll just, whatever but you have to come. So I said, what's going on? And he said, she's been, since 5 o'clock this morning, she's been upset, she's been shouting, she's been, get Rosemary, I've got to talk to Rosemary, I need to speak to Rosemary. And when you haven't been here, every time I've walked in the bedroom, where is she? Is she here yet? Please, can you come? He said, I've left it until the latest I could. I'm sorry if I've woken you up, but you've got to get here. So off I go, and there I am, and I walk in the door. Now remember, Wendy is still very weak, but unlike the day before, there she was in bed with a smile so serene on her face. It was astounding, and I just walked over to held her hands and I said, what's going on? And she said, I saw it, Rosemary, I saw it. I opened my eyes this morning at 5 o'clock and my entire bedroom was filled with blue, just beautiful healing energy, and with some pink in there. I felt the angels. I didn't see them, she said, but I felt the angels, and they brought me this beautiful blue healing color, which we had always worked with. And I saw it, and I felt it, and I know, absolutely, I know that everything you've told me is real. So you can imagine that we rejoiced. I spent the entire day there with them. At some time around sort of, I don't know, I'm going to say 7:30, her husband, her 2 sons and I were all on the bed. And Wendy seemed as if she were sleeping. So I touched her husband's hand and I said, I'm going to take off and leave you altogether. Wendy opened her eyes. She wasn't sleeping at all. She heard me. She said, and she looked me straight in the eye. She had these beautiful eyes, and she looked me straight in the eye and she said, you have to stay. You have to stay. So I stayed for a while longer. She was obviously fading. And at some point, perhaps an hour later, I gave her husband a kiss. I gave the boys a kiss. And I tiptoed out of there. They had a few hours left together. Wendy died in her husband's arms early the next morning, with her sons surrounding her. And I'm told she died with a smile on her face and joy in her heart. She'd said to her husband, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, because I know that Rosemary is right, and I know that God embraces me. We went to the funeral, and her husband took me on one side and he said, Wendy has left you a little bit of money. And immediately I said, no, thank you, but no. Give it to the church, give it to a children's home, something. He said, no. He says, she's left it for you specifically so that you can record and make your first healing meditation. She found it so helpful for her, and she wants it to be available for everyone who has it. It was a small amount. Not small to that family, but it was a small amount. It just about paid for the recording studio, the packaging, and the production of the first healing meditation, a journey towards healing. Another time I'll tell you how Wendy came when we made that recording and how she took charge of the whole situation, but that's a whole different story. All right, so I think that is such a wonderful and inspiring story. It certainly inspired me, and it definitely inspired me. Wendy definitely inspired me to make those healing meditations. If you want to know more about this story, if you want to read the story in the book, it does go into a bit more detail. If you want to know more about anything at all, of course, you have to email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and Michelle will put that up, I'm sure, for you, right, Michelle? All right, so are you ready for our healing session? All right then, so you know what I'm going to say. Sit nice and straight, hands, palms up on your lap in a receiving position. We have 7 main chakra points. We've talked about this before, but we also have lots and lots of tiny pinpoints of energy. The word chakra simply means spinning wheel. It's a vortex. It's a tiny aperture. It's like, breathing in. We have pores to breathe in the air. We have these tiny chakra points all over the body to breathe in energy, to bring in energy, to expel energy, so on and so forth. And 2 of those little chakra points are seated right in the palm center here. Now, we're not going to do this right now, but I'm going to suggest that you, prior to healing, when you're giving yourself healing, or when you're sort of experimenting by sending prayers out to any people that you're sending prayers out to, in order to sort of get those little palm centers activated, if you take the finger of one hand and just draw a little circle right in the center there, just right in the center, sometimes you can feel it goes warm or a little bit of tingling or what have you. Then do the same to this one and just go round and around and around in a gentle circle until you can actually feel, you can actually start to activate those little energy points there. Another way to activate this energy is you rub your hands together, really hard like this. Oh gosh, I keep going for at least another few minutes until your fingers start to tingle. And when you move your hands away from each other, yes, your fingers are tingling because of all that friction, but pay attention to what's going on right in the center of your palms. Pay attention to that throbbing or pulsing or whatever that you get there. We're going to talk about that more in some of our we're doing our conferences, yes, our online conferences. And when we do an online conferencing about healing, I'm going to talk to you more about that and how you can activate your palm centers. At the moment, you need to do nothing at all except just be with me, and I will do all the work. If you'd like to learn how to do that work, if you'd like to learn more about healing, just pay attention, watch out for those conferences, because they are, and I keep talking about it, but they are coming, and we will be doing more of this later in our conferences. But for now, hands, palms upwards, lay on your legs, palms upwards in a receiving position. Breathing in, using your chakra, your solar plexus, breathe in through your solar plexus. Close your eyes, make sure you're sitting in a very comfortable position. And then, dear God, please allow me to participate in the healing process. Allow me to be a part of that universal God force, that universal energy that is out there for all of us to use. Dear God, please let me participate. Please allow me to receive. Allow me to be connected and contented with the energy that is swirling around us all. allow me to participate in this. Dear God, I will do thy will. Quietly now, eyes closed, relax, breathing in through your solar plexus, breathing in, holding it in your lungs, in your chest for as long as you can, and then allowing that energy to flow down your arms and out through your fingertips. Once again, breathing in, and continue to do that. Continue to breathe in, breathing in that energy, breathing in that God force, breathing in that healing energy that we're sending out to you, connecting with our prayers that we are sending out to all of you, and breathing in. Take it all in, as much as you want, as much as you can. It's all yours. And hold, and hold, and then allow that energy to flow out. If it helps, visualize a warm blue blanket wrapped around you. Sometimes it helps to thread the blanket with gold and silver, pinks and blues, all of those beautiful colors of the rainbow, because that is pure, a beautiful energy which is surrounding you. If it helps, visualize a blue sky. Visualize yourself lying on lush green grass and a beautiful blue sky with the sun shining above, that golden ball of sunshine. Feel the warmth of that sun. Feel the warmth of that energy as it envelops you. Bring it around you, breathing in, breathing in. Breathe in through your solar plexus and hold, and then gently and slowly let that energy flow through you, down into your arms, all the way down into your hands and out through your fingertips. And let's try and do that again. Breathing in through your solar plexus. Again, if it helps, visualize being wrapped in a blue blanket, or visualize lying under a beautiful blue sky with the sun shining down on you and the warmth of God and the light of God permeating all the way through you, filling your heart, filling your mind, touching your soul, because this is what this is about, a healing of the soul, bringing light and love and the beauty of God to our soul. Bringing light and love and the beauty of God so that our spirit, which is the aura of the soul, can shine out within us and bring light within us and bring energy within us and bring the love of God within us. Breathing in, holding. Again, allowing that beautiful energy to flow around us, to enter us. Breathe it in, breathe in as much of this as you want. Eyes closed, beautifully, nicely relaxed. And again, think of that warm blue blanket, threaded with the golds and the blues and the silvers, or that beautiful blue sky that you're lying under, letting the sun shine beautifully around you. When you listen to your healing meditations, I know that many of you have them, whichever they are, mine or somebody else's, doesn't matter. When you're listening to those meditations, allow the words and the music to flow through you, to fill you up. Allow the words to flow through you. Let them inspire you. Let them help you. As you're listening to my words, let my words inspire you. God rejects no one. We are all able to receive healing. We're all able to give healing. So, breathing in, take a big gulp of that beautiful healing energy. Fill yourselves up. You can visualize a jug, a big jug. God holding a big jug of blue water, healing energy, pure and simple. You can visualize him pouring that big blue jug of liquid down through your top chakra, the crown chakra. Let it fill you up. You won't drown in it. You'll survive it. Just breathe it in. Let it fill you up. Let that energy flow through you. Be greedy with it. You can have as much as you like. There's no limit on it whatsoever. Breathing in once again. Breathing in, filling yourself up, filling yourself with that beautiful God energy, letting it flow, and relax. If you're not already relaxed, relax. Open your eyes, take a moment, take a breath. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Take a breath. Stretch. Stretch your hands. Stretch your fingers. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And just relax. Now you can do this as many times in a day as you want. You can do it every hour if you want. You can do it 3 or 4 times a day. You can do it once a day. I'm going to suggest that, especially if you're a person who feels that you're in need of healing, you do this at least once a day. Some people choose to do it only once a week. I suggest everyone, whether you're feeling sick or not, everyone should have healing every day. It's kind of like taking your vitamins every day. It's kind of like drinking your good orange juice or whatever it is. I can't drink orange juice, it's bad for me. But you know, whatever it is that you take on a daily basis to make you healthier, make you stronger, make you more positive, healing is one of those things that I think everyone, whether you're sick or not sick, I think everyone should have healing. I sometimes do this with my grandson, and we have healing, and I'm always giving him the magic of healing. If he's hurt himself, he tells me. If he fell over the other day, couldn't wait to tell me, because he knows what I'm going to say. He knows I'm going to say, does it still hurt? He'll say yes, or he'll say no. And even if he says, no, it's okay now, he still wants that healing magic, and I still give it to him. Why would I not? All right, time for your questions or your comments or whatever else is going on. Do we have anybody actually on today, Michelle? I didn't ask.
It's been back and forth between about 8 and 10 people.
Okay, all right. It's amazing, you know, we as soon as we stop and I go into it, I see within seconds sometimes we've got 200-300 viewers within seconds of us finishing this. So maybe people can't always connect to it live, but it's just amazing how many people find the time to pop in there. So all right, so do we have any comments or questions, or do we have an easy day today?
Lori was on.
Hi,
and
Lori.
She had to leave us because her connection wasn't very good.
Okay, all right. Well, the good news is she can always watch it again, right?
She says that she's here in spirit and she's going to try again later.
Okay.
There's several comments in another language. Actually, two of them look like Italian. One of them, I'm not sure if it's Italian or Spanish.
Okay, here's the thing. We love you to pieces. We love the fact that you watch. We'd love to know what you're saying. If you type it in and then click on Google Translation, it will translate it so that we can see what it is you're trying to say to us or the questions you're trying to ask us. Google, Google, Google. Google Translate, Google Translate. Try that. We're going to have to put it up there on... maybe we'll put it up there in Italian and Spanish and French and whatever other language we can think of. That's what we should do. Put that up on
Remember, there's a couple of them that we can add translations to now. Remember, we found that out last week.
Oh, yes. We can actually... Yeah, let's do that for this. Shall we do that for this one?
I don't know if this is one that we can do it to. I think it's your personal pages we get to do it to, not the business ones.
All right. Well, then we'll write on the personal pages
and then share
and let everybody know that all you have to do is Google Translate. Let's have anything else going on.
Deborah said that that's a great inspirational story that you told, and that she's asked that we pray for her son and her nephew, which I've already added them to the healing page.
Good. Do we know what the issues are? Or
her son is Sante, and he suffers from gastrointestinal problems.
Yeah, that's awful. We will definitely be sending him lots and lots of healing.
And her nephew is Caleb, and he suffers from a severe seizure disorder.
Okay, all right.
Can't speak today.
Okay, all right. Okay, anyone else?
That was Lori. I already told you Lori's comments. Kevin is on, and said, "Hello, Rosemary.
Hi, darling.
Today's story is just perfect. It's what I need to help someone close to me."
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Good. Anyone else?
And Sandra,
I think, Kevin, you're a winner of our competition, so you will be getting the Eagle and the Rose
audio,
and I think the story of I think it's
the meditation CD.
Oh yeah, you'll also be getting a Journey Towards Healing. So it's all coming to you, Kevin. So you'll be getting the first healing meditation, a Journey Towards Healing. You'll be getting the Eagle and the Rose audio, so you'll be able to hear me tell the story of Wendy, and then you'll understand more about the first healing meditation that I did. So maybe that would help your friend as well. Maybe it'd help you to understand more of how to help your friend. So we'll keep our fingers crossed with that. Yeah.
Okay, Sandra says...
Hi, Sandra.
A beautiful story, Rosemary. So glad Wendy had your support at that time. Such faith and love. Hugs.
Thank you. I find it was a very poignant story for me. You all have to understand, when we are healers and we go out and we get very involved with our patients, and if we're lucky, we also get involved with their families as well, because as a healer, I always feel that not only does the patient need our healing, the families, the carers, those people who take care of the patients, they definitely need our healing help, because they're the ones who are doing for somebody else, but very few people think to do for them. So I always instruct my students and my team, don't forget the families. But when you get so close, when you have known a patient for so long and you get so close to them and the families, and then to see someone trying to put doubts and fears, to say to a dying woman who only has literally days to live, you're going to go to hell because what you're doing is of the devil and God will not accept you into the kingdom of heaven. Let me tell you, there have been many times over the years that it's been hard for me to be a spiritual being, because sometimes I felt the inclination to go find that man and shake him until his brains rattle. But of course, I'm a spiritual person. I mustn't think those things, must I? But when you get involved with people and you just, as healers, whenever we go into people's houses or homes, whenever we go into hospitals, nurses will always say to us, we always know the patients who've been receiving healing. That's what they say, because those patients have a peace and a calmness within them. And then for someone to come and try and upend all of that, because one of our goals is we can't stop people from dying. When God calls you, that's it, you're going. But we can help their transition. We can support them. We can support their families. And as healers, that's what we try to do. We can also lessen the pain of these people by giving healing and giving that healing energy. So we never think of anyone as a hopeless case. And the joy that we have of helping the families and helping those patients transition is tremendous. And so for that someone to try to upend that because of their own narrow view of things is it was hard. I have to be honest. It was hard. I raged for a whole night to God and whoever else was listening to me. But then there you are. I'm only human. Anything else going on here?
Annie is on.
Hi, Annie.
And she said her puppy and her have both had bad stomach aches today, and that they didn't get to sleep last night.
Oh, well, we're sending you healing. I'm sure Michelle's put you down, and if we could have the puppy's name, that would be great. Or we could just put Annie's puppy. I'm sure God knows who Annie's puppy is. We'll definitely put you on our healing list, my darling, and send you healing.
That's it.
And that's it. All right, so that's it for today. Do we have anything else to say? Yes, we are tomorrow. We are Thursday morning. We are going to be doing our Spirit World Sees All, where you can interact with us, ask questions. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I shall be on with Michelle, and we shall be on for an hour taking questions and fielding things back and forth and so on and so forth. It's usually a fun show. We will not be having our Everything is Attitude this week, but not the following week, but the week after that. We've got a brilliant guest on who many of you have seen on before. This will be his third time on the Everything is Attitude show, and that will be Jeff Calusa. He'll be on the Friday before Thanksgiving, because we have to do something for Everything is Attitude for Thanksgiving, don't we? Thanksgiving up is coming for those of us who are in the States. I personally do not celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm British, but I do like being invited for dinner, and if it's good food, I'll eat the food. And of course, I always try to be thankful for whatever's going on. So but we'll be talking more about that with Jeff in a couple of weeks. So we will not have the Everything is Attitude show tomorrow night, but we will be having it next week. What else? If you want to know more about my books, if you want to know more about the work that we do, if you want to know more about healing, please email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. If you want personally to have healing, please, when you email, please, will you put on there healing in the subject line, and then Michelle knows exactly which folder to put you in and how to deal with you. It just saves us time, right, Michelle? Because we get so many emails, and it's always good to try and save time. Again, if you would like to be on the mailing list, you have to request it. We will not automatically put you on there. We will have, you just say, please put me on the mailing list. Again, the subject line would be mailing list, and we shall do it automatically. And usually Michelle sends out a little email to let you know that we have done that.
I try to. I don't always, but I do try to.
But you do try to. But if you don't hear from us, you sent us an email and you know that we've not come back to you, and you know we've received it, you will be on our mailing list, or you will be on our healing list. So we do try, but as you can imagine, we do have lots of emails to deal with, and so we're not always as efficient as we might be. We try to be, though, don't we?
We do try.
All right. So is there anything else that I've forgotten? Oh, yes. I don't know what's going on, but consultations are going crazy. If you want to know about how to get a consultation with me, if you want to know how can I talk to Rosemary personally, again, please email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com, and put in the subject line, please, consultation. If you forget, we'll get to you anyway, but if you put it in there, we'll get to you quicker. So whatever your issue is, if you could try and put it in the subject line, that would be really great. I can see people coming in, so let's...
Yeah, Lori was telling me no luck, maybe later with this emoji.
Okay.
And Molly Wilcox, who emailed us, said please reach out, but I haven't read the email yet, so I can't answer that one now.
Oh,
that was it.
Yeah, we've had an email from Molly before. Is this the same?
I'm not for
Molly,
positive.
all right. So, Molly, we can't help you yet because, you see, as efficient as we tried to be, we haven't yet gotten to your email, but we will get to it today or tomorrow at the latest, right?
Yeah, I can't be on live and be in the email back and forth.
We can't do this. We can't do this and do something else at the same time. Is what. I don't know why. You'd think she'd be able to juggle these things.
Well, I juggled the healing page and the live at the same time, and Twitter.
So she's doing Twitter, the healing page,
and
this online live. So there's no room for anything else, Molly. So give us.
She said thank you.
Give us a little bit of time. If you're asking us to reach out, we'll do our very best to reach out. We'll try our best to reach out. I think that's it then, isn't it?
Yes.
So thank you all for being here. Again, my latest book, Walk in the Clouds. Again, if you want to know anything more about the books, the healing meditation, anything at all, right? I could go through a whole list. If you want to know more about consultations or how you can get a consultation, you need to email me, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. If you are interested, or you think you might be interested in the online conferences, I did say to Michelle yesterday.
We talked about yesterday.
We really, really have to get those going.
I think that we've decided that we're starting February. We want to get past the holidays before we start. We'd like to
get past the holidays. We'd also like to get, I'm not sure if February or March, because I know that lots of people have taxes to pay and all of that stuff to consider and so on and so forth. But if we keep putting it off because we're waiting for people to sort of get over the hump of the Christmas, New Year and the taxes and so on, we'll never get going. So we're hoping for February. Keeping our fingers crossed. And we've got lots of different subjects that we want to talk about. So if you are a person, if you think you might be interested in sort of joining or participating in something like that, again, email us, and again, please put it in the subject line. So again, it goes into a folder, and we will eventually on the conference calls. You may not hear from us for a few weeks, but if you send us an email, it goes into a folder, and once we have a date, once we know what we're doing, we shall reach out to you, we shall send out to you and let you know what it is we're doing and how we're doing. If you're on our mailing list, if you've requested it and you're on our mailing list, then you're going to know straight away anyway. As soon as we know something, you'll know something. So you can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Instagram. I don't know if any one of you saw my daddy's picture on Instagram. He looks exactly like I looked at that age. We put the pictures together, you can hardly tell the difference between us, right, Michelle?
Absolutely.
It's an uncanny, and yet when my father, when he was older, we looked nothing like, but for whatever reason. Anyway, but for all of you soldiers out there who are right now fighting for us and for our freedom, we thank you and we ask God's blessings upon you. For all of those who have fought in the past and have in some way supported the country and supported freedom, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. And so we hope that you all have a very, very, very blessed rest of the day, and that you have a wonderful and a blessed weekend which is coming up. And hopefully we shall see you tomorrow morning on our YouTube channel, which is The Spirit World Sees All. That's it. I've now got to reach out and press that little button. I'm never quite sure if it's the one at the bottom or if it's the one on the very top. Is it the one on the top?
I think it's the X in the top.
There.
I don't hear the noise.
Oh, it's off. It's gone. Well, I don't know if it's off actually. And let's see.